Hi, I'm Dr. Amy, and we're here today with Elton. And Elton is a Shetland pony cross, even though he looks a little bit like a fjord with his big crusty neck. Little history on Elton, because I've known Elton for a little while. And I know that during the summer, this crest is not nearly as large as it is at the moment. I'm going to turn him around so you can see a little more of how pronounced it is. His mane kind of gives us a little more depth to it. One of the reasons that Elton develops this crest so much in the winter has to do with how the environment and how the seasons affect horses. As horses come into the fall, they are affected by the change in light. As light gets less and less during the day, horses recognize it. They recognize it in their pineal gland. We do too, we just don't talk about it. But by the end of July, actually, these horses will realize that they are experiencing less sunlight every day. So their metabolism will start to slow down. And while their metabolism slows down, they will start to grow hair, so they'll have a longer hair coat. Elton's been body clipped a couple of times. And they will start to gain weight and lay down fat deposits. In these horses that are compromised metabolically, they will start to lay down fat deposits in large clumps. So over the crest of the neck, we'll start to see it right here through an area that could be referred to as a saddle pad. And many people are familiar with seeing this crest of fat on donkeys. You can see across Elton's hind end, he's got a little fat pad right around his tail head. Those are not uncommon. But for Elton, he actually has put on a lot of this weight in the last 3.5 months. Boom, and it seems almost magical that he can gain this much weight this quickly and be fed so little food. Because in order to keep him from gaining weight, owners have a tendency to feed them less and less and less. Unfortunately, what happens with that is that the mineral amount that these horses need to maintain normal body function decreases with that food. When you buy a bag of feed for your horse, you are paying the most money for that bag of food for the actual vitamins and minerals that are in the bag, not for the other products that are in that feed. Most commercial horse feeds are made with relatively inexpensive ingredients, and one of the most expensive ingredients that goes in the bag are the vitamins and minerals, but it's also one of the smallest in quantity. So when that goes into the bag, if you are not feeding the recommended dose for that amount of horse feed, then you're not giving your animal enough vitamins and minerals. For instance, if a bag of horse feed tells you that a horse Elton's size should be eating 4 pounds of food a day, that means that it takes 4 pounds of that commercial food to give Elton the right amount of vitamins and minerals. If, because of his weight and his magical weight gain in this time of the year, we cut back on that amount of food, we've also cut back on allowing him the right vitamins and minerals in his diet, which actually can make this problem worse. What we have done to try to help clients is we put together a couple of posters. And if we refer to the poster that is our Understanding the Sympathetic Stress Response, that will help for you to understand that this whole cascade that puts horses in basically a situation of becoming metabolically challenged, and continuing it. And we also see it in our poster for the biomechanical process of inflammation and pain. Those two processes are part of the chemistry that cause these animals to become the way Elton has over his lifetime. Can it be corrected? Yes. It's taken him about 5 years to become this metabolic, magical, growing, swelling pony. It's probably going to take him at least half of that to become more like a normal animal. What we have to remember is that horses have evolved to be a certain way. Ponies in particular, most pony breeds evolved or were developed in regions that had very, very sparse grass. Most were raised on islands with primarily rocky regions, which predisposes these particular breeds to a lower metabolism to begin with. When we bring them into our domestic situation and feed them large amounts of hay and grain, their evolutionary metabolism isn't up to speed enough to be eating that much food. So we disrupt that balance. Then we realize, oh no, we can't do that. We have to feed them less. And when we do that, we put them on that cascade to becoming fat and chubby, seasonally in particular. But it also predisposes them to a lot of the ailments that come along with that. Foundering, heaves, behavioral irritability. You can see that Elton is the lucky wearer of the short lead rope. That's so we can catch him in his stall. So he's not just difficult to catch out in the pasture. He's also difficult to catch in the stall itself. Guess what? Behavioral changes are part of the chemistry that go into making these horses abnormally metabolic. So correcting that metabolism is really important, and we need to remember that feeding them commercial diets, we have to be careful. We have to read the labels, and we have to feed them the optimal amount of vitamins and minerals and protein and fats so that they can become the horse they were intended to be and not have these seasonal changes. If we wanted to make Elton a better horse, a more harmonic horse, he is a sweet horse, we would have to do some of these things to harmonize his health.